Welcome back everyone to another Marvel Crisis Protocol unboxing. So today it's an absolute beast. This guy is massive and he's one of the biggest, baddest bosses that I loved from my 90s childhood, watching the cartoons. Juggernaut, love this guy. He's unbelievable. And if you haven't seen Deadpool 2 already, or if you have seen Deadpool 2 already, he is brilliant in that as well. So, Juggernaut. Looks like a fantastic model, right? And on the back, you have an alternative fist. So you can either have him with a street lamp, smacking somebody, or as the classic fist with the bands around it. So I was half tempted with my Hulk to put this light in his fist and just have the alternative fist, but I'm not so sure. I think I will go with the standard fist rather than the street lamp, purely because it's the classic pose. But what do we know about the Juggernaut? So I will zoom in so we can see a little bit of the blurb, and you can read it yourself and press pause. Right, so Cain Marko is the Juggernaut. Well, we know this. Now, he was once an average human before discovering the Crimson Gem of Sidorak. So, this guy is not a mutant. So in X-Men 3, spoiler alert, I say spoiler alert, it's been around for years, when there was a mutant that could take away other mutants' abilities, this guy should not have been changed. He is not a mutant. He's technically still pure human. And also, something you don't mention on the back of this box is Cain Marko is the stepbrother of none other than Charles Xavier. And he hates him. He hates this guy. So, one of the main reasons why this guy has a helmet is to improve his psychic defense. Because he knows full well that nothing can stop the Juggernaut unless they get inside of his head. And then they can stop him. So, that's the best way to stop the Juggernaut. And I'm not going to say the Vinnie Jones line from X-Men 3. But yes, it's always stuck in my head, and I really want to say it. But I'm trying to make this as PC as possible, like most of our videos. I'm the Juggernaut! Something. Yeah, so this guy, it never really has a master plan other than to trash things, destroy things, beat stuff up. He's not exactly a supervillain. He is in terms of power, but he hasn't got massive amounts of brain function. You'll never see him running the Brotherhood of Mutants or something like that. But speaking of which, he is affiliated with the Brotherhood of Mutants, which is brilliant under Magneto, because when Magneto destroys any pieces of terrain or anyone else in the party destroys pieces of terrain, they can share energy around up to the size of the terrain they destroyed. So Juggernaut is going to wreck stuff, because it's Juggernaut. He is literally a Juggernaut. He's just going to keep running or waddling until he gets fast enough to destroy everything in his path. And that's blatantly what he does in the game, as well as in the comics and the cartoons. Yeah, but this guy's been around for a while. And he does wreck some serious face. He has done some real damage. He has even been inside the X-Men mansion a few times and pretty much completely flattened it before someone's got his helmet off, giggity, and shut him down. So when Xavier gets inside of his head, that's it. It's pretty much game over for Juggernaut. So that's basically Juggernaut in a nutshell. But it is interesting to know that Colossus, one of our goody two-shoes favourite heroes of the X-Men, has actually become an avatar of the gem himself. His sister, Magic, was trying to use the gem, and he basically got in the way, stopped her, and he became the favoured avatar. And he basically looks a lot like Juggernaut, sorry. But in a Colossus wrapper, so to speak. So he had the red armor, his skin was metal, and he was nearly unstoppable as well. So yeah, he was a great hulking brute. But enough about the lore. Let's get into the rules. So, Juggernaut, otherwise known as Cain Marco, has 8 stamina, 8 health on his healthy side. He can move small, which doesn't sound very much, but he is a very, very large base, and we'll get into a bit later on how you can move him a bit more. He is size 4, which is a pretty big boy. He's pretty girthy, and he costs 5 to have him on your team. So he has 4 physical defense, 3 energy defense, 5 mystic. So, first strike, we have physical, obviously. It's range 2. It is 5 strength, so you're rolling 5 dice at 0 energy cost. After this attack is resolved, this character gains energy equal to the amount of damage dealt. Pretty standard. And if you get a wild, you get a push, and you can push the target character away small. That's okay, so if someone's on an objective, you can knock them off. Brilliant, not bad. I'm the Juggernaut, in the Vinnie Jones style. Is a range 2, 7 dice, which is quite potent, 4 energy, and on a wild you have Rush. After this attack is resolved, if it is during this character's activation, this character may immediately use Nothing Stops the Juggernaut superpower without paying the energy cost, which is pretty good. And, funny enough, we're going to go straight into Nothing Stops the Juggernaut. Easy for me to say, right? So normally it costs 3 energy to perform this, but if you get the Rush in I'm the Juggernaut, you get it for free. So Nothing Stops the Juggernaut. This character is pushed small. It does not stop its movement if it contacts a size 3 or smaller interactive terrain feature. Instead, the contacted terrain feature is destroyed, which, like I said, helps Magneto dish out that power. Then this character continues being pushed if the character contacts one or more other characters, so it doesn't say friendly, enemy, whatever, it's any other character. One contacted character suffers 1 damage, then this character stops as normal. A character can only be damaged by the superpower only once per turn. If this character has the staggered special condition, it loses it. Which is pretty cool. Getting rid of stagger is a big, big deal. Stagger doesn't happen very often, but it really does shut down the amount of actions you can do. Okay. So basically, if you get on the Juggernaut, you can use a push. You can push yourself. You can damage some terrain. You can damage some people. And you can shake off stagger. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Nice punch. Cost 1. If this character would suffer any damage, it may use this superpower, reduce the amount of damage suffered by 1. So it doesn't say to a minimum of 1, like Colossus gets it baked in. This guy, let's say he only takes 1 damage, spends 1 energy, gets rid of it. So it doesn't mean you can keep spamming this all the time. Let's say someone's going to do 5 and you spend 5 to get rid of it. It just happens once. But it does mean it happens every time they attack you if you've got the energy for it. So if they hit you once, do a couple, you can use it. Hit you again, use a couple, you can use it. So it doesn't say once per turn, but it also doesn't say reduce the amount of damage equal to the amount of energy used. It's important to know. He has a helmet. Yep. This character cannot be pushed or advanced by special effects of enemy mystic attacks or enemy superpowers. So that's a passive ability, on the healthy side I might add. Then he has unstoppable momentum. So, after this character resolves a move action, during its activation it gains 2 energy. The next attack made by this character, this activation adds 3 dice to its attack roll. This character can be affected by the superpower only once per turn. So if you move, you gain 2 energy, which is always nice anyway. And chances are you're going to move in the game, right? And then if you do smack somebody, it is 3 extra dice. So if you're on the Juggernaut and you've moved rather than 7 dice, that's right, it's a big old 10 dice. So it is physical, so going against certain models like Carnage, 5 physical defense, yeah, it's pretty strong. He is also immune to stun, which is pretty nice. So, some cards on some characters don't change that much when they're damaged, but he starts off with 8 health. Normally the defenses don't change, but wabang, this guy, still 8 health, but if you notice, his Mystic is now down to 2 instead of 5. So rather than having his shield, or his helmet even, he now has the Avatar of Sitarak, which costs 3. Choose an interactive terrain feature or enemy character, both size 3 or less, within 2, and throw it medium. This superpower can only be used once per turn. It's pretty nice. So he still has his Nothing Stops the Juggernaut, nice punch, momentum, all that stuff. But his helmet gets damaged. I'm really struggling not to say a joke here. And he loses Mystic Defense, but gains the ability to throw stuff. He's getting angry. He's getting pretty angry. That's very Kane marker. So, it's pretty nice to have him in, let's say, X-Men Gold. So you can do that leapfrog ability, move him as if, he had moved. And then you get to move him small. And then you do on the Juggernaut with 3 extra dice is pretty nice. Gaining the energy. So basically, like the first turn, you can move and you're already on 3 energy. If you don't suffer any damage, the following turn if you move, you definitely have enough for on the Juggernaut. That's pretty nice. You can do that with X-Men Gold. You can even gamma launch him, I suppose, with the Hulk. Would be pretty nice. This guy is pretty useful. As long as he's moving, he is wrecking stuff. He's unbelievable. So good. But wait, there's more. So we have Team Tactics cards. There wouldn't be much of a Marvel Crisis Protocol box without it. Making a Ruckus is unaffiliated. It's reactive. When another allied character within range 3 of an allied Juggernaut is targeted by an attack, that allied Juggernaut may spend 3 to play this card. After the attack is resolved, Juggernaut may advance small towards the attacking character and make a strike attack targeting it. So it's not bad. His strike's okay. It is 5 dice. But if he's moving, you could then play... you would already have unstoppable momentum, therefore rolling more dice. So strike, 5 dice doesn't look great for a 5-pointer, but you always have to remember, if he's moving, he's doing big damage. So that's pretty nice. That gets that guy moving, gets him up the table. Wicked. Next, we have Do You Know Who I Am, which is a brilliant name. Real nod to X-Men 3 there. Unaffiliated, active, Juggernaut may spend 3 energy to play this card. Choose an interactive terrain feature or an enemy character, both size 4 or less, within 2 Juggernaut, and throw it long. Long is massive, son. That thing is really travelling. So, even if he's on his injured side, yes, he can throw stuff. Yes, it costs 3. Excuse me. But he can only throw it medium. So with this, it's exactly the same, but he gets to throw it long. So situational if he's on his damage side, because you're just throwing it a little bit further. But on his healthy side, he gets to throw stuff early, which is brilliant. Versatile strategy. Unaffiliated, active, an allied character with an active leadership ability may play this card. You may choose a non-interactive leadership ability of an allied character in your squad that corresponds to your squad's affiliation. The chosen leadership ability is now active instead of the current leadership ability. All effects of the original leadership ability expire. So basically, let's say I've got Storm and Scott in my X-Men team. I can go from Storm to Scott halfway through the game. If it's getting real close combat, you might not want to use that cover. You might want to use Scott's ability. That's pretty cool. Also, you have to remember, if you're using this card, let's say with Juggernaut, and you with Brotherhood, Mystique and Magneto may be in the same list because they work quite well together. Mystique blowing things up really powers up the rest of the team thanks to Magneto's ability. But you might want to swap it out. So that really is quite versatile, no pun intended. That's a really nice card. Once again, possibly a bit situational, but a nice card. So next we get into the model itself. Now the model itself comes with its own special unique base. So you can see that is different from any other base out there. So he's launched himself off of that rubble, pushing his foot back, scraping it. Yes, you can see blue paint on my fingers. I've been painting with an airbrush. Should have been wearing gloves. But this guy is chonky. Look at the size of that. I mean, compared to a base-coated Spider-Man I've got here, he's about half the height of Spider-Man, just his boots alone. This guy is going to be unbelievably massive on the table. And look at that face. Who wouldn't love that face? See, there's a man who likes his job. Look how happy he looks. And like I said, there is the option to have half of a lamppost. I might just magnetise it, to be fair, just to swap it out, just because it looks cool. But that chest really is a barrel chest. Look at those biceps, they're massive. That's bigger than the waist of X-23. I've just got X-23 next to me and it's just like, yeah, it's huge. But there is a pretty simple model to assemble. Torso, front and back, legs, and I would imagine opening up the instructions leaflet, yeah, it's got the QR code on it, not the old school, this is how you assemble it. But it's super easy. Scan the QR code and it takes you right to the website, or go on the website directly. But there he is. He's quite orangey, and that's how I remember him in the cartoons, more reddish, and I think that's how I'm going to paint him. Now, my friend Ian Henderson, which you might know as Hendy Badger, he's got a bit of a following, so on Tales, the Tabletop Skirmisher and things like that, and he often comments on a lot of things like Necromunda and Marvel. Super nice local guy, comes to our club, and I like to call him a friend, special friend. He has put 2 halves of a Deadpool on this model, so he's got like a torso of Deadpool torn in half from the Deadpool 2 film, and I believe when he's going to paint him up, he's going to paint him up like the colours in the film, so more yellowy. But I'm going to go with classic 90s styling. So I'm going to go with the good old red armour rather than the rusty orangey colour. Really looking forward to painting this guy up and seeing him on the table. I am heavily leaning towards Brotherhood now. I mean, I've got Magneto, Toad, Mystique, Rogue, and who could forget Gambit. So now I've got this guy. I'm pretty much going to have to paint them all up and play Brotherhood on camera and see what it's like. So hopefully coming to a battle report near you soon. Brotherhood versus who knows. So still trying to get Andrew Brown on the channel. He's got some lovely models and he's a super nice guy. Hoping to get Ian on the channel as well, Ian Henderson, currently moving house. We've had Marcus, and Marcus will come back. Marcus will return. And you've yet to see the delightful Dan. So Dan recently has gone into Marvel in a big way, picked up the core box, and within a fortnight he's painted at least half of the core box, which isn't bad when you've got a very busy working life. He's really ripping through those models, and he's doing really well as well. He's even kicked Marcus's butt off camera as well, which is not an easy task. Not an easy task. Marcus is a very good player. So, hope you liked this video. Thank you for listening to me waffled on. If you've made it this far, please hit please hit that subscribe button if you haven't done already. And stay safe, you lovely, lovely people.